everyone, my name is Vita and I'm the founder of Resume Last. And today we're going to talk about job interview prep and what goes into looking for jobs. And we all know that this is probably one of the most stressful times for you as you're trying to transition or potentially just look for a new job, or you're a newly graduated person who just wants to get your first full-time job. This is a video for you to watch. So I would like to start with a personal story and how I normally prep for a job interview. It is very important for me to understand who I will be talking to. And I usually try to really research the interviewers. I look them up on LinkedIn. If they are part of an exec team, they're probably more known, and you can Google for their names out there. So it is very important to know your audience, who you're going to be communicating with, and what to say and what might be important for them. You know, if, for instance, if they worked in a pharmaceutical industry all their life, and you have some background in that, it is probably important to highlight that. Oh my God, I see that you work for a certain company and I actually have some background in that as well. And here is a talking point for you, something to be remembered by when you're talking to them during the interview. So it is very important for me in that regard. Then I also try to understand what their main pain points are. And it is very easy to do through social media, through different news outlets, and just by researching the company. So knowing their pain points, knowing who you're talking to are the things that I normally try to do ahead of time. So let's talk about 5 steps that I would like to disclose, to talk about, to discuss with you about the job search and what is a job search and how to approach it. So definitely you want to make sure that you know your audience when you're trying to apply for a certain opening. You want to spend a few hours learning everything you can about the company that you're trying to tailor your resume for, your job application. You want to make sure that you've read about them in the news. You know everything from your friend who potentially works there. Usually this is a great source of information as well for you. You want to make sure that you read up about them in the news, on their website, because sometimes they have that about section and they include a lot of articles about what's going on, what kind of projects they're working on, and what kind of funding they might have received. So it's always helpful to be in the know about the company and know what's happening. And another life hack, I guess, about learning more about a company is their Twitter account. And sometimes Twitter accounts of the founders or of the executive group or team of this company. You can see what they're posting about, what kind of tone they have, what kind of culture they're trying to translate to everyone else, to the external world. So definitely do your research. This is very, very important, especially if it is your dream company. You really want to make sure that you know everything in and out. Step number 2 would be carefully examining the job description. You really want to make sure that you've read cover to cover every single word on that job description probably a few times, because this is your direct hint about what you will be asked about during the interview and what they're looking for. And of course you want to shine and you want to highlight the experience that is relevant to what they're asking for in that job description. So definitely look for certain wordings, certain buzzwords that they might have on the job description, and try to use that during your interview and even your cover letter or even your job application. Step number 3, you want to make sure that you anticipate certain interview questions. And it is very easy to anticipate because Google is our best friend these days. You can just search top 10 most commonly asked interview questions, and you will see lists and pages of that, and you can always start preparing, and you can always do that yourself and also practice the answers. Step number 4 is write out the examples of certain things and achievements that you would like to talk about during your interview. It is very important to not just say that I'm a hard worker, I'm a good listener. You want to back it up with a certain example. And the good news about those examples is that you can always use mix and match. So for instance, if there's a certain behavioral question from an interviewer about your the best client you've ever worked with and how did you achieve that level, you can use certain examples that you've written out for you in advance and then just tailor it for that particular answer. And always use examples. It's really good. Step number 5, the final step, would be practicing your answers out loud. It is very important that you say them out loud, that you understand how long your answer is going for. You don't want to go over 2 or 3 minutes in one answer to a certain job interview question, because then it is very hard to listen to, and it is actually very cumbersome, and you really want to make sure that you're straight to the point, you're organized, you're saying exactly what is asked of you, and you don't start your life story from your childhood years and so on. So it is very important to stay focused and to say it out loud. This way you can also practice the tone of your voice, the way you're projecting it, the way you're using your body language, and sometimes I even recommend recording yourself on a camera, and this way you can see yourself from the other side, from what the interviewer might be seeing, and this might be helpful in terms of adjusting certain movements of certain gestures, maybe your voice and your presentation. So that concludes my 5 steps prepping for an interview, and I hope you like this video. I always appreciate your likes, your comments below, and the subscribe button is always there for you. Thank you so much.